Well, I'm harvesting my first batch of the potatoes. My first planting day was March 13th, so I'm at 91 days right now. And this tote has 2 of the Harvest Moon potatoes and 1 of the Adirondack Blues. So it's a good test to see where we're at. One of the strains is an 80 to 100 day, and one is a 90 to 110 day. So we're gonna see where they're at right now. And just looking at it after I took the straw off, you can see one here. My guess is that is a Harvest Moon. Same with this one here. Let's see what other ones we got here. There's another one. Pick these before I dump it. I'll loosen up the roots a little. There's my fabric. There's another potato. Set these here. A bunch of the Harvest Moons. A bunch of little ones, so they can definitely still go longer. Harvest Moon, Harvest Moon. Really looking to see what the what the Adirondack Blue made. A bunch of little ones. A lot of these little ones will get used planting the second round. I am not seeing. Yeah. Here's some more Harvest Moons. I am not seeing the Adirondack Blue. Let me switch around here. I know I planted one. It even made berries. Well, that's just weird. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I found the 3 root balls. So 1, 2, 3. You can see slight differences in the color of the roots. So I'm guessing this was the Adirondack Blue. And here I've got a seed potato that may have been the Adirondack Blue, although it's lost all the color. So maybe that was a Harvest Moon, because they're a yellow flesh. But all of the potatoes look the same color. So I'm probably going to have to wash them and cut a couple to see which are which. But that's my first potato harvest of the year. Well, I got them washed and weighed. It's just under 3 pounds. So when I first bought the starter potatoes this early spring, I bought 3 pounds each of the Adirondack Blues and the Harvest Moons. The Adirondack Blues were pretty big ones, so I ended up cutting them into chits. But the Harvest Moons were relatively the size of these. Maybe a couple of them a little bit bigger. I think maybe I figured out which ones are which. So let's look here. See this one? It's all purple, but there's no white spots on it. All purple, but has white spots. White spots. No white spots. When I first got them, the Adirondack Blues were kind of a grayish brown skin and smooth. They didn't have any dots, but the Harvest Moons did. So I'm thinking that might be how I can identify what they are. Without dots. I don't know, I've also noticed that one has a tougher skin than the other, so that might have to do with it as well. You can see it has more wrinkled skin. No dots. 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 No dots. 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 I'm not going to do the littlest ones, although I will plant those again. This one has dots. The majority are going to be the Harvest Moon, i.e. the ones with dots. I don't know if I said earlier or not, when I got the Harvest Moon, they had dots on them as well. This one has dots. 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 No dots. 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 This one, dots. Dots. And like I said, I'm not going to trust my sorting on these, although those little ones do have dots. That one looks like it has dots on the skin. And all those, who knows. So let's grab a knife. Since this one is, well, it kind of has dots on it too, but this one is big enough to chit. So let's do that now. So you've got eyes here, here. Let's cut it. That is definitely the Adirondack Blue. Sweet. Now, this one's also big enough. Say right here. Another Adirondack Blue. So that's cool, they came out with the actual purple skin when they're fresh. I may eat these to try them tonight and see We definitely got a good amount of the Harvest Moons off the 2 plants. I was worried about that because they weren't flowering. So this one did. So let's see the difference in weight is. Now this is assuming these are all Adirondack Blues. I'm not going to cut them all, but just under a pound. This should be just around 2 pounds. Get back here. Grab the little ones. Most of these little ones I was picking off of the plants that I assumed were the Harvest Moons, so we'll assume those little ones are. So yeah, just under 2 pounds. So 1 pound per seed potato, since there was 3 seed potatoes in that tote. Not bad. Wanted to take a quick video of this because you can't really see it well from the pictures. But I cut my potatoes. These are the Adirondack Blues. And I removed the straw, which was up to the top level here. You can see all the potatoes that were growing just under the straw. I did not do these in the traditional roost out method, as in just placing the potato on top of the dirt and then covering with straw, but I did alternate depths in planting. So there's let's see, there's 18 of them in here, so 9 were down in the lower level and 9 were in the upper level. So we'll see how many I have once I dig it out. I may let this dry a little bit before I harvest them. It was still pretty moist soil, and I haven't watered quite a while. A bunch of little ones. This is perfect because I was looking for starter potatoes for a fall season. And we'll see if any of them are bigger, but these are perfect for starters. That one's a little bigger. It's pretty cool that the roots went all the way over here from another plant and grew a potato. So I realized in my potato videos that I did not take a video of me harvesting the Harvest Moon potatoes from these 2 pots, or the harvesting of the potatoes from this big bed that I had full of Adirondack Blues. So what I've harvested so far this year is that tote, these 2, and that bed. I had 18 Adirondack Blues in there and 1 in there. I had 2 of the Harvest Moon in there, and then 2 in each of here. So out of the 19 Adirondack Blue plants, I ended up getting 9 pounds of starter potatoes. I ended up eating a few of them, so I'll show you here in a minute the ones that I have left. Out of the Harvest Moons, I had 6 plants, and I got just over 8 pounds of potatoes. So surprisingly, it actually produced more in a shorter period of time. Although the Adirondack Blues that were in that tote, that one, were much larger than the ones in that bed, because these were outside and got rainwater, and these I did not water near as much. Still alright though, because I got my starter potatoes. I got these 2 totes, and when I divided the soil from these 3, I added some into here. The next round is going to be roost out, basically I'm going to submerge the potatoes just below the soil line and then straw from there up. This one I'm going to build a cage around, maybe just get another one of the IBC cages, stack on top of it, and then roost out with straw on top. Now this bed is still full of Harvest Moons that I'm just letting go until the plants finally die off. They're a little they're a little weepy in this heat. It's about 101 in the greenhouse right now in the shade. My carrots are doing really good. These ones are nice and long, but kind of skinny because I didn't water them enough. But back to the potatoes. I'm going to go inside and show you the seed starter potatoes that I have left. So here is my seed potatoes for this fall season. I've got some that I'm going to give to a friend of mine, but out of the 3 pounds each of the, let's see, these are the Adirondack Blues and these are the Harvest Moons. I bought 3 pounds of seed starters of each of them, and I now have 100 seed starters for the next round within the same year. So what I'm going to do is plant out as many of these as I can and hopefully get as long of a season as I can, so that I have seed potatoes for next spring. And then when I plant next spring, I'll have long rows out in my side yard garden to plant for a single season, long season. And then in the pots in the backyard, I'll do seed potatoes again, just so I can keep them going. I really like these, both these strains, and I want to continue growing them without having to buy more. The red Pontiacs that I have, I got at a local feed store, and they were cheap and they're easy to get, so I'll probably just buy more of those next year. That's it for the first potato harvest